Hey everyone, welcome back to the Film Rehash. I am still Paulo Quiros, your host and narrator, and this time we're talking about Labyrinth. So, Labyrinth was the first movie that didn't really have a comedic tone exactly. The movie itself, it's not serious, it's got crazy puppets, but it has a sense of wonder. It's a little bit more straight-faced than, say, Raiders and Back to the Future 2, which are adventure comedies. We as a team were kind of joking around and bantering while we were doing the episodes, and that feels right in those movies, because those movies are jokey and bantery. But Labyrinth has more wonder to it. I felt like the tone of the episode, which didn't come out of me wanting to play around with tone in any way, it just happened naturally from the fact that it was, a tribute to the passing of David Bowie, and it was a one-player game, so there's naturally going to be less kind of bantery energy in the room. Like, that tone actually felt kind of appropriate to the movie, and something that I actually just noticed after we made the episode, and that kind of emboldened me to, think about the tone of the movie and how you can emulate that, and how you run the game, and what actors you choose for it, and how you approach it. The other thing that we did for the first time in Labyrinth, or that I did, was I kind of started coming into the way that I build the worlds. My approach for Labyrinth was the first time I did the approach that I still basically do to this day, which was, so I have this movie with a sense of mystery and wonder to it, and the ending of the movie is slightly mysterious and enigmatic, and the main character that I have to worry about, Jareth, is very enigmatic. But in order to play these characters, they can't be mysterious to me, right? I have to be able to have the answers to all the questions in order to be able to play as them, to understand what they want, and what are the limits of their capabilities. So I had to make some choices about this world, answer questions like, how big is Jareth's domain? Does he just control the castle and the labyrinth, or is there a bigger world? How long has he been in power? What's the nature of his political power? What's the nature of his magical power? So I started answering those questions, and as I was answering those questions, natural possibilities for world building would come out of those answers. And so the process of creating content for the world started coming organically out of answering those questions, and that kind of solved the problem that I came to with Raiders, where if you saw the film rehash for Raiders, I realized that some of the stuff I'd created didn't really fit in the world, so it wasn't right. It was stuff that didn't get into the episode, but it was totally wrong. So this was an approach to have questions and answer them and have content that came out of them that, the stuff that was coming out of it felt organic to the movie. So what kind of stuff was it? Well, for one, what is the nature of the world? Is there more world outside of the labyrinth? And for me, the answer was no, not really. There was some stuff that she could have done, but it was much more simple. There were characters that I came up with that could be out there, but really, one, she's probably not going out there because the character's motivation is very much to go into the labyrinth to find her little brother. And two, it's not Game of Thrones. It's not a big realistic world with, economic policies and agrarian, population density questions that you can answer. No. It's a mythical world. And so the world is really the world of that labyrinth, and it's not a big world outside of it. And the question was, what is the nature of Jareth's power? And to me, and this was just, a choice I made sort of on the feel of the world, is that he is a usurper. And, oh, by the way, I'll say there are some comics that were made that are in the world of Labyrinth, and I didn't treat them as canon. I was inspired by some of the things in them a little bit, but for the most part, I don't like them that much, so I didn't use them much. So hey, Jareth is a usurper. So what's the nature of this world? And so I'll give an example here. In a different path, she could have found the dungeons beneath the labyrinth. There were cells, and someone trapped in one of those cells, if she had gone the right way, was a previous ruler of this world. And that would have given her ins on the backstory of Jareth. So we could have gone down a path of finding more out about Jareth and how he came to rule this area and what's the nature of his real power and how the goblins had kind of subsumed this world and woven their own magic. So I played around with stuff like that, and there was fun things to do in there, and that would have been a very different story. But one that felt organic, at least to me, within the world that the movie gave us. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail explaining all the different stuff that I created, mostly because I reuse stuff. Like, if it didn't make it into the movie, if it didn't make it into the reroll, I probably took those, scenarios and characters and puzzles and all that, and I'm just keeping them in a little folder, and I grab from that folder liberally for new movies. So I don't want to spoil too much other stuff that I would do by telling you about the stuff that didn't make it into those movies. But I'll tell you some stuff. And the other thing is that, like, I like the worlds we've created and the stories we've created, so I don't want to demystify them too much by showing you exactly how the soup is made. But so she didn't find that stuff. And I like the movie we ended up with, but it was very close to the original movie, even though she went a different way. And I guess that's kind of a lesson about the movies themselves, is that you can change, like, rarely do I change the nature of the movie by how I create the world, because for the most part, the motivations of the characters determine the nature of the movie. And Sarah's motivation was always going to be to find her little brother. Like, that's pretty much a thing that won't change in that movie. That's the heart of the story. And for me, the puzzles and the challenges are dressing that I create to make it fun for the audience and for the players, but mostly for the audience. So, like, even if she had gone to the prince and finding more about Jareth's backstory, that would really just have been a tactic to get at Jareth. It really would have still been the story of Labyrinth. We don't really change the nature of the movie unless we change the motivations of the characters, which is something that does happen in some of the rerolls. So I think I've rambled on for too long. I hope these are fun for you guys. I enjoy talking about the movies themselves. If you guys have any questions, shoot them my way, and I will answer them in this space as well. And we will talk again soon with Frozen. Nope, I'm not going to do Frozen. Well, maybe we'll have John do Frozen. But then I'm going to be talking about what came next. Speed. All right. Talk to you later. Bye.